Hello, everybody. Aundrea Sides here. I am your intuitive life architect and boom spiritual catalyst. I am here with lovely Prosper on the online prosperity show. Loving it, loving it. So, this episode is going to be about coming home to yourself, coming home to the heart, coming home to where everything already exists. Your wishes granted, your life fulfilled. It's already in there. The genius within is there. We're going to lead you back home.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show, where we dive deep into the journeys of exceptional individuals who are reshaping the landscape of success. I'm your host, Prosper Tarovinga, and let's get ready to embark on an adventure with our esteemed guest today, Aundrea Sides. Now, Aundrea, how are you doing today?
I am fan-flippin-tastic. I am so happy today. Thanks, Prosper.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for that. And for those that are watching right now, get ready for laughter, insights, and a sprinkle of magic as we unravel the story behind Andrea's extraordinary life, with experiences that range from living amongst the Amazonian tribes to becoming a luminary figure in the psychic mastery. And I think Andrea promises to deliver an episode like no other. You should have seen what was happening behind the scenes. Such a beautiful moment we shared there, Andrea, and I'm hoping we can be able to impart some of that energy to our viewers today. So this, I think, is going to be a roller coaster of wisdom and wonder, and I actually guarantee you won't want to miss an episode of it. Now, Andrea, your journey is nothing short of remarkable. Could you maybe take us to those days where you were living amongst the Amazonian tribes and share how those experiences have actually shaped who you are and what it is that you do for others?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. And Prosper, I want to thank all of your listeners for their time here. It'll be well worth their time. It'll be rich. It'll be soulfully rich for people. And I will go into that, but I want to kind of set an intention as we're moving forward and to open the minds of your listeners and to get into a place because I am all about not just regurgitating stories and information, but really, really turning on people's inspiration. And when I say inspiration, I mean in spirit, I mean in the body, I mean in the wisdom, I mean universal wisdom, I mean with the divine, I mean with who you really, really are. And all excuses and complaining are no more. You drop victimhood and you take care of your well being. You observe, you pause, and lovingly reflect your emotions before acting and speaking. My intention is the purpose of life, and it is to flow and have fun, and especially on this show. So, this is a transmission that is coming forward that is really important to set the intention and get people's excuses and complaining and oh my God, this is so different, and any kind of victimhood, and just open the minds. Go on a journey, a magic carpet ride with me into your interior wealth. You're prosperous, beautiful. You are a perfect mirror, and even just your existence and who your name is going to kick this off in a really, really beautiful way. I want to use your wonderful energy for people to have the reflection that is needed inside so that we can have a more sustainable world, more happy world, because when we are creating and bringing stuff forward from our insides, reflecting on our authenticity and allowing that to flow and give life force to the world, to the earth, then what we're doing is we're adding our vitality to what already exists instead of reusing knowledge and reusing stuff. And then this is why we have problems within the earth. Or how many purses can you go on to Amazon and buy all at once? Or would you like to create something new and have it show up like right in front of you because you are actively pursuing your interior, and you're also stimulating the life force that's within that without you. You start vibrating a frequency instead of bumping up against people's frequency and retaining people's frequency, you emanate your own, and collaboration is possible. Wow. I don't know where that came from, but this is what I do. I like to not just talk about myself, but give an examples of how that I can be helpful. I get to do what I do with such joy, with fun, with power, with love. And then people can feel it, and so we all have a truth barometer. We can feel whether or not that something feels like the truth, if it feels to us, if it is the with clarity. So the first thing that I'm going to ask people is to be able to hear the truth, to be able to move everything out of the way that we said, be able to fill up your whole space, be present, call all your power back, and get aligned with your illumination, your light in just this moment while you're listening to this. And you can even listen to it lightly, but there's going to be an energetic positive imprint that your soul will accept if this is where you're supposed to be at this time, and you're tuning in, and you're tuning in deeply. And if you want to turn it off, then it's just not the time right now. It's all good. There is no judgment. It's only neutrality. And we are here, Prosper. We're really here to be able to assist people in finding that flow and that happiness. And I feel that from you too. I really, really do. Like, you're a very giving soul, and I love it. So back to your question.
Thank you. Thank you
Oh
so
my
much
goodness.
for.
Yeah, so back to your question. Oh, go ahead. Go.
No, absolutely. You tell us how this all became. Maybe
Hmm.
start from.
I can give you a little piece. I don't know if I could do the whole thing, but with your question about living. So through my journey about 12 years old, I was always I always attracted and was attracted to indigenous tribes, and wherever I lived, I would always attract the healer, the shamanic practitioner, the chief, whoever the person was. And I believe now that it's, I get different insights on this a lot, but I believe that I don't want to say that I believe. So I'm going back to my childhood, and I'm looking at myself when I was young. And I remember how I wanted to interact with everybody, and how incredibly sensitive I was with people. And I could feel people's happiness. I could feel their triggers. I could feel where they weren't in their power. And I didn't care. I just wanted people to be happy. I wanted people just to play and be present and like see the moment. And I used to act out a lot to distract people from themselves a lot of the time, or just to change the energy in any way. And somewhere along the line, I remember, people, you know, not all, but some of them, hush, be quiet, you need to stay still. You're not supposed to, do this and this certain kind of environment and things like that. I'm like, why? It's not working for you. Like, are you happy? You don't, I'm not saying that you need like rainbows and sunshines coming out of your bum all the time, but at least come on, neutral, like, hey, flow, you know what I mean? And but it's just like this, I'm being shown this bull, like, and this ox, like trying to, plow the fields and go forward and regurgitate all this information. And so this is what I saw when I was a little kid. And then, but I had this clarity, this presence. And then somewhere along the line, as I'm getting older, I started to develop codependency. I started empathically not knowing what was mine and what was other people's. And so what happened is I was processing. So I wasn't sure if this person was just mad at themselves and what they were doing, or they were mad at me, just as an example. Or they were disappointed in this, or they were disappointed in me. And I didn't have like a filter. I had this like oneness kind of consciousness or empathic feeling. And then so I was trying to transmute and take all of this personal inside of who I was. And I thought that there was something wrong with me. And it was just mirror and reflection. And so that started going and started going and started going even more. And then when I was around 12, 13, 14 years old, um, I started to go, wait a minute. something is not right here, and I just started rebelling against everybody. Then it was rebellious nature. It was rebelling, don't tell me what to do, I'm going to do things on my own, and it was an act of survival. I think a lot of rebellious nature is, because that what happens is we're not, a lot of times when people are sensitive or when they're young, they're not embraced on to be like who they are, right? They're not provided a container to be able to express themselves creatively with their own divine nature and who you really are. I'm not saying everybody, but I mean as a society as whole, because but this is where I am so diligently wanting to be part of this change so people can, because I believe we're all innately good people. I believe that we have conditioning. I believe that people have a lot of things that they don't know what the truth is because they've been looking outside for the answers versus inside. Well, of course, then truth is going to be subjective, right? And so, anyways, coming back around. And so, what happened is, as I started questioning and I rebelled, that was my act of rebellion. And I was like, okay. And then, as I got in my 20s, I started meeting people, these indigenous people. And I worked with someone that was in Greenland, Alaska, in the Albuquerque, New Mexico area. Within the Amazonian tribes, I worked with two people that were the healers of their people, shamanic practitioners, uashins, curanderos, whatever you want to call. And it was not easy. They would reflect to me what I had picked up and how I was behaving authentically. But at the same time, these people had this incredible, incredible sense of humor and laughter. And I remember in my third eye, and when I was doing different ceremonies, I would be sitting down with these people, and I didn't know why I was there. I just knew I needed to be there. And I got a lot of different visions of why I was there. I'm not going to share that right now on the show, but just in general of what I came, and it was like this process of when I was younger of transmuting everybody's emotion and taking it so personal and doing the best that I could humanly possible with the tools that I had set me up for a lot of strength. A lot of strength and a lot of wisdom, a lot of understanding and compassion of what people are going through. And it was able to be a catalyst for me to be neutral and be able to master being non-judgmental with people. And I think that people really feel that. And also having intuitive integrity. And what I mean by that is not telling too much to somebody, even if you see it. It doesn't mean that you need to tell them all at once or whatever, because if they can't see it within inside themselves and they're not ready for it, it's just going to be pushback. And then instead of bringing somebody into themselves, you could actually do the opposite and out. So you really have to, when you are living from a place of intuition and you're seeing people. So what I have this amazing gift is to be able to do is I open up this portal to people where their wishes are granted, where where their life is fulfilled, where they're having this happiness, where they're having this flow, where they're having this joy, where their health is, their ailments go away. I teach people how not just we clear the ailments, but I open up and try to open up people's intuition so they can see where the ailments came from in the first place, so that they can keep doing this repeatedly and take care of themselves and their own well-being, and they're pulling from themselves instead of from me. So the best healers in the whole wide world bring people back to themselves and an understanding of where this comes spiritually, emotionally, then mentally and physically. That was
Absolutely.
a lot for
I
your
I
people.
love that. Well, thank you so much for that because it opens us up into your world and how it all started. And if you don't mind, I just want to go back a little bit, especially to the time when you were 12. I mean, obviously, I'm assuming when you were growing up, you were also amongst other kids. Was it just you experiencing this, or everybody else in your time was also going through this?
I really, in all honesty, Prosper, I don't know. I just know that I was really sensitive. I have never been asked that question. Let's see what comes through. Let me see what. the truth. So what I'm doing is I'm going to explain. I'm asking for the truth of your question within. And I'm going to ask, so immediately, so what I do as a intuitive architect and spiritual catalyst is I will go back to that time. And as you are asking me that question, if there's anything that needs to be cleaned up that I have not looked, that you just highlighted, I take responsibility for it. And I go into the space, into the memory. I see how it feels. And if it feels off or there's no clarity, I clear and transmute it through all time, dimensions, spaces, and realities. May I have more clarity on this? Ooh, that doesn't feel good. Okay. I'm giving active advice to people, like, so it doesn't seem woo. This is like advice to do, because if I'm doing it and I'm getting the answers and I'm just regurgitating my answers to people and they're like, how did she get there? I'm not demystifying anything. I want to really assist people on the way of when I'm answering the question. This is a whole different way of perspective of looking and behaving emotionally. So this is also emotional, an example of emotional mastery, which is what I teach on my courses, on my modules with Vitality Unleashed.live. So I'll go back there and I'll look to see, and I'll see, ask myself, can I visualize this 12-year-old? And I was in a rebellious period. And I see myself going back from this space right here, walking up to her and saying, hello, hello, I'm here. You're okay. You're seen. I love you. Aundrea, I love you. I'm filling you with unconditional love right now through all times, dimensions, spaces, and realities. So I challenge your people right now, go back when they were 12 years old, see where they feel maybe traumas, ask them where they feel in their body. Is there anything that feels plugged up? Is there anything that feels uneasy? Illuminate it. Ask to put a flashlight on it. Ask for clarity. Thank you very much. Clarity, take a deep breath. Don't hold your breath. Take a deep, deep breath in. Fill yourself up. Know that you're present right here, that you're safe, and that you're all right. In this moment, bring all your energy back. Feel your heart in between the breath. When you go in, holding for 5, feeling your beautiful heartbeat, connecting to yourself, asking for clarity, asking for the truth and love in this moment. So the catalyst and the way that we get inside and we start appreciating who we are and we get back into our own power is calling our energy back and loving ourselves. And if you don't know how to love yourself, ask, how do I love myself in this moment? Or if that's even hard, how would another person love themselves unconditionally in this moment? And then go back. We'll go back to when I was 12 years old. Wow. I'm pulling back the curtains a little bit here. So it was a show and dance. When I was 12, it was show and dance and survival. Show and dance and survival. I see myself like tapping and show and dance, and I'm putting my arms out to her and saying, it's okay. It's all right to go to be you. And that you don't have to put a show and dance or protect yourself or whatever, because that you are, I was just really, so it gets to a point where, so what happened, Prosper, is through my life and being empathic, taking on people's emotions, getting lost because I was so sensitive, processing all of those things. And then there comes a time where you just want to be a people pleaser. Like, this has got to be easier. This has got to feel easier inside. I, I, I can't be doing all this stuff wrong. What is going on? I can't be that unloved and unliked. Or am I not doing it right because I don't want to go to school and regurgitate all this information and knowledge when all that I want to do is when I feel most alive is when I'm making music or art or paying attention to the architecture within and developing that world within. But every time that I would go inside of myself and look, people didn't approve or didn't like it or whatever that it was. And it was now, that time, it was like, I was bringing that on myself because I was bringing everybody's emotion as my own. So it was very blurry. So at 12 years old, I was people pleasing. At 12 years old, this was my emotional state.
Mm.
Um, So, but yeah, right. I can go back there. So what I'm doing is I'm just loving on her and I'm clearing and I'm bringing in a ton of light and I'm saying thank you for sharing this with all of these people on your cast right now, because somebody or lots of somebodies needed to hear this. And I'm not afraid to face the pain. I'm not afraid to see the shadow. I can come because I've developed and learned emotional mastery to be neutral with this and send my parts love in different parts of my life and elevate that. Now she's hugging me back, and I just gave her a job to do and to integrate on your show. And she is, I'm getting chills all up and down my spine. I love it. And thank you. A little mini soul retrieval, as you could say, but it's an integration too. So she just integrated that piece of her, and people can do this, and it doesn't have to look exactly like this. So but this is what happens when your world is clear inside and you have emotional mastery and expansion and you trust yourself and you're not afraid to go inside of your shadows. You can get to a place of love and practice love. So I challenge people even for 6 weeks to ask themselves, and I don't even care if you don't follow through with it. Like if you say, what would a person do to love? And you're not able to because of addiction or just a pattern or whatever. It's not supposed to be pushed like that. Okay. Spirit, myself, Aundrea, Prosper, your listeners, in this moment, what would a person do that loves themselves? Okay. So if you're not willing to do it, it's okay. But at least you asked. Ask again. Do it for 6 weeks straight and see what changes and how naturally the inspiration to do things in love, because it's the emotion and the feeling. You can have a beer. It doesn't matter. If you're in the frequency of love, it's okay. It's not the outside that's coming in, right? So, okay, you go, and then guess what? You do it for 6 months, you do it for 8 months, you do it for a year. You don't have to ask the question anymore. Your whole life transform and your perspective about life. Now, I want to say this too. People are too fast on giving up on their transformation. I know we're supposed to make this about my story and everything, but this is channel. This is what I'm here for. I'm here. This is what I'm here for, is to assist people in the real time, getting back to themselves. So when you start waking up and you start realizing and stopping the self-criticism, the victimhood, the judgment, the problems, and problem solving. Like those things are contrasts that are supposed to be bouncing off points, not to stay in it and meddle in it and bathe in it and poor me and all these things. This is what creates a lot of dis-ease in the body. So when you start emotionally mastering and asking your spirit questions, emotionally mastery affects the physical body. It affects the mentality. It affects your heart. Your physical being. Of course it does. Of course it does. Of course it does. And I'm going to ask everybody to breathe again. And even if that I've come up with spirit and the divine and whatever's the stuff that is coming through right now is life changing for people. And what I mean is that I'm seeing this like waterfall. So I live in Mauritius. This is where I live. And there's this underground water, there's this waterfall that looks like that. We're changing the subject a little bit for a minute. Okay, so there's an underground waterfall that looks like this, and it's called an optical illusion, but it's not. Since I've been here, I've learned that it's not an optical illusion. It's a gateway to the underworld, to the unseen. It's a gateway to being able to do the shadow work in a pleasant way. Yes, it can be hard, but if you have the tools, like in Vitality Unleashed Live, we give people the tools step by step so that they can have a system of how to go inward. And they make friends. They go on Facebook. There's people that make friends for life on there. It's pretty freaking incredible. So, anyways, I see the waterfall. I see this waterfall going in, and I want to use it as a metaphor as people being able to go inside of themselves and discover really who they are, and ask themselves, do you know your own frequency? Do I know my own frequency? And if I don't, what would that frequency, if I could emit like a radio signal, what would that be? Love? Would it be unconditional? Whatever you want it to be. Value? Prosper? That's sorry, Prosper. That's already in your board. That's already in your, that's already in your
It's
vortex.
already
That's already in your frequency, my dear.
yes,
But to
absolutely.
own it, that's when the money really starts rolling. And that's when all the emotional and all the other stuff really, you feel like you prosper. You download your frequency. Your name just happens to be part of your frequency too, which is an alignment that you could nurture and love and just do so much with. This is literally a literal example for you to see, for people to be able to see prosper, prosper. Let's go into the depths. Let's clear stuff out and let's own what prosperous in all our mental, spiritual well-being, emotional. What does it feel like? What does it look like? What is the sense? How does it assist other people? How can I contribute? What would the world look like completely if there was prosper everywhere? And start building it out. Build it out. And then all that, I'm getting chills again. So you're building it out with your different values or the frequency that you want to emit. You're building it out with it and inside. What I mean is from inside without. And then all these things start happening and start coming. Now, back to what we were saying before. Spirit always does this. I led somebody back. Be patient with yourself. When you start waking up and you start leaving the victimhood, now I'm spitting. Woo! Like I'm getting into it here. When you start doing all of this and you're looking around and you're happy and you're looking around and you're going to the store and you're feeling really good and all you're seeing is like really sour faces and sad. This is just another metaphor. It can be with many things. People can put this on. Like you feel prosperous, you feel all these things, but you don't have the 10 million bucks in your account or whatever that is yet. Keep going because you're seeing all these people, because that is the frequency that you were emitting before. This is a mirror of how you were sour faces, victimhood, you're criticizing, maybe gossiping, and you see these people and they're looking at you like, who are you? How dare you come and admit all your light and do all these things? And I just keep on going. It takes a moment to catch up. The spiritual into, and the better and better you get at this, the time limit for things to show up starts going
Does it get
because
easier
you are in
though?
your own world. It does. It does start getting, the better it gets, the better it gets. The better it gets, the better. But people do not, because you do not want, and it's a very valuable, all my indigenous teachers help me with it. It's a valuable lesson to practice and acknowledge the love and yourself and your frequency without the conditions of what is on the exterior and what is showing up. That is like, I don't even like to call it, but that's the test. You maintain what you have created and keep building that world like we just talked about. Man, there's some good tidbits in here. Whoa, I'm like blown away too. I'm gonna have to look, I'm gonna have to go back and look at this 5 times.
I know, I know. So while that is
Yeah.
happening, how are you going to know you're on the right direction? Because there's the other people around you are not going to be sort of in that space with you. So how do you
Mhm.
know you're on the right direction?
So what do you think, Prosper? What do you think by what we just talked about that building? What is the answer to that question? What do you feel is the answer to that question?
I feel like maybe things are getting aligned. You sort of, start to rewire yourself and start seeing things from a different place. But I'm just talking to, Sally, who's watching this right now, might
Mhm.
be, thinking, okay, if as I'm going along this direction, how do I know I'm doing the right thing? And, you know,
Practice what feels well to yourself and stop being enmeshed with everybody that is around you. When you know that it is feeling good, the purpose of life is love. The purpose of life is flow. The purpose of life is joy and pleasure. I don't care what excuses. I don't care if anybody tells me that the human condition is part misery and miserable. It's just not the truth. It's a contrast. It's a growing point for expansion. You're not meant to live in misery. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody, that people can throw the victimhood and the excuses and everything else. Don't worry about the outside. Start with your inside, and those things, and poverty, and children that can't, that are, I already can ask, I already can see all the questions coming in, and the people, and the children that are starving, and the people that are dying, and early on, and things like that. Be the change that you want in the world. Then ask the question. Go by how you feel. You're not having that experience, or maybe that you are, but you're not. Take care. Go inside. Keep on emitting your frequency, even when because everybody's around you. This is where, like, the test comes, that gossip, the self-criticism. You might have family that just is just nonstop. Okay, I'm going to say something very, very clear. Maybe this will help. When you, oh, I'm hearing, no, 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 we don't want to hear the no. It's not people, it's just in general, because it's the truth. And these are entities that are collective consciousnesses that do not want to be exposed. And it's so silly, because once they're exposed, you get to back into your empowerment. If you're not in your empowerment, I'm going to say two things. Maybe this will be motivators for people, or inspirations. If you're not in charge of your own frequency, everybody else is. You're getting pulled in 10 different directions, and you are siphoning, these things are siphoning your power. Call your power back. They're siphoning your life force, your vitality. That's why people are not thinking clearly. That's why people need different things to make them, feel up. This is, you are pulled in so many different directions. So you're drooling on yourself at 3 or 4 or 5 p.m. because you are being pulled outside. Your energy is being pulled to what already exists. When you bring it in and you do this, and so when you're doing this and you're starting to go inside, Vitality Unleashed will help people start going in the inside, because I bring people inside, not just what I'm saying, but to move stuff around so that they can start opening and feeling. And so it's a how that you are feeling, and your connection with the light, the connection with something that is greater, that is broader, that is part of who you are. Creating some safety, creating this here. Boom, 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 boom. I'm answering your question, but I'm hearing a lot of different people when they're listening, and the way that they need to hear it. And so this is not necessarily the way that I would need to hear it, but your people and the way that they need to hear it. And no, when you do, when you are complaining and you're making excuses and you're gossiping and you're doing all these things, this is what causes dis-ease. Criticism rhymes with another disease that starts with C. It's all related to the C disease. That's a big one. So before you criticize and doing everything else, realize what you're bringing in to yourself, the disease. When you are criticizing and you're doing all of this stuff, when you're looking at something and you're objectively looking at something and you want to get a new perspective and it's uncomfortable, that's different. But when you're getting into it and the victimhood and everybody else is at fault and doing all of that stuff, or it's like passing around the family and stuff, you are creating dis-ease in your environment. So practice on who you are. When you start doing your own frequency, you start going within, you're just resetting your environment. Be patient with yourself. Believe in yourself. Honor yourself. I think that is one of the biggest things that you go through on your journey when you go to awakening or being woke or whatever that you want to call it in this new world that's coming, that is creating very, very quick to sustain itself, because we need to, for our children and their children, we want them to be in this world of fluidity, of knowing themselves, to bring out their creativity, to make a better world, like, period. Like, just, we want that for our families. We want that for our children. We want that for our friends. If you have a heart and you feel the environment that we're at. So anyways, it's very general. That was a very general, but it's enough to where people can hear. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. And Vitality Unleashed, I have a whole series that clears. It's who am I? Getting rid of the onions and the onion layers of the false belief systems, what's on the outside world, and where we've been programmed. You have to be willing to be able to see the programs around you. Even with COVID, that was the biggest learning. People that were diehard, like co-ed, like vaccinate, like all these different things that were like, oh my God, I'm going, are clear about what's really happening now. So many people are that would never admit, or I've heard people admit, like, this is what I saw, this is what was going on, and this is, so it's like that. That's just
Hmm.
one example.
Fantastic. Now you've got a
Yeah.
masterclass, the Vitality Unleashed live. Could you maybe
Yes.
let us know what that entails and what our audience can actually expect from this transformative journey?
Sure. So the master class is it'll be 30 to 50 minutes. We usually stay at 30 minutes. And what we do is we go in and we talk about what modules that we offer people. And this is all about, we're transforming it. We're actually upgrading everything right now to go back within. So to pull back the curtains, be able to get past any of those patterns or blocks that keep you from being able to do that and go within. And each person, it's different. It's different. If we need to clear anywhere that you self-sabotage or victimhood or, gossiping or, you know, um, the hierarchy thing or whatever that it is, whatever, there's different things for people to do there. But when they get live on me, they can ask a question. And what I ask people to do is ask themselves a question, not what their problem. This is my problem and it needs to be fixed. I want to be proactive, and I ask and I really try to get people, what would it look like or what would it take to have clarity around this particular subject? And that's where we go in and we get rid of all the layers. So we pull things out from the root and we open, and we can feel lightness and we can feel that joy, that happiness, more pleasure around whatever that was. And then they'll feel it, and then they can go on and decide if they want to be part of the modules, and they have different series. So I think I have like a silver and gold and platinum. And then as upkeep, we have a Facebook group, and then I come on there and people can send me messages. And it's just a reflection. It's somebody that is in their truth, that gives you the reflection of the truth of who you are. And it's powerful. Very, very powerful. Yeah.
Wow. So, in a nutshell, you're literally giving people back to themselves because they come to
Oh,
you thinking you're
mm,
going to give them whatever answers, but the answers are already within, right?
yum. You said that so beautifully, Prosper. So, so beautiful. We have the universal, when we go within, we have access to universal wisdom. That's how our whole world was created. You want to be an Einstein? Or you don't have to be an Einstein, but a Tesla. This is, yes, you open up the spaces where you get your own truths. And when people are doing, and what happens is the next step, it's the next level. When people are getting their own truths, people don't go to war, they collaborate. And that's really hard for people to understand. I ask people to be able to play with that a little bit. When you are working from the inner divine and your own inner wisdom, you start attracting other people that are doing the same, and some real change in the world happens for the positive shift. We take care of our place where we live. The food that we eat, it doesn't even matter because we can bless our food and the frequency of that. It's like we start emitting our own frequency of love, unconditional love and clarity. So wherever we're stepping foot on, this is what we're asking. This is what we're asking people to do.
No,
It's the most loving and unselfish thing you can do.
you've taken it upon yourself to liberate millions from childhood trauma, and I think that's incredibly noble. I wish they would do that in kindergarten and just really let people off without them having to go through all the drama that they have to go through in life. Now, what sparked this mission, and how do you envision achieving it?
Because I believe that once we start doing this and we wake up the adults, it takes the adults at first. The children are wonderful, but the adults need to waken up so that we can start, instead of just regurgitating all the things in schools, that we make this interesting. We make it about their creativity. We make it about themselves. We make about innovation, the arts, the play, the fun, the flow, being seen, being honored with integrity. All these things are absolutely possible. And to be able to start teaching emotional mastery within the schools, being able to honor people's intuition, being able to have a place for every child. It's so we do it here, we help provide it, and then we learn from our children because they're the new ones coming in. They're the fresh ones. They're more connected to their play and God and the divine or the universe than anybody else is. Look at a child. Look how they interact. Yeah, do they when they get older they start big? But if you go in, you go in with the child, arguing. Are you really wanting the adult to come in here and do this, or do you guys got this handled? You got it handled. They look at you. I think we got this handled, Aundrea. Like you give them the space to be able to, and everything just flows. It's easier. So that is my answer for today and for right now, and what I want to be able to put it out in the world, because the better it gets, it's just the better that it gets, and the better that it gets. It's a must.
I love that. I love that. And I feel like, indulge me for a bit there, Andrea. I mean, obviously, you've been to like the, Amazon places, and you would have maybe experienced somewhat of an initiation or a rite of passage event. And I'm not talking about the ones that they have on the National Geographic that are a little bit out of whack. So when we were growing up at the age of 12, 13 or 14, depending on your maturity, you're actually brought in by the village leaders, and you're proverbially tapped on the shoulder, and they tell you it's your turn to lead. Now you start taking full ownership of who you are, taking most ownership of your emotions. You start taking full emotion of even your own nervous system, and really open up the floodgates. And you get all the abundance that the world opens you up, because at 12 you're no longer a kid. You are now getting into adulthood, so you can now take on that sort of energy. And I feel like that pattern break is missing in some cultures, where kids grow up from 0 to like 65, and it's like 3-year olds who are fully grown babies running companies and living the day-to-day life and spitting dummies at each other in the traffic there. Now, maybe you can comment a little bit on that, saying how your Vitality Unleashed is somewhat of that pattern break, that sort of rite of passage that a lot of people are longing for, to liberate them from their childhood traumas.
Mm. Oh my God, did you just hear yourself, Prosper? Amazing. I just saw you explode in your consciousness, and thank you so much. My heart is so warm. I feel so seen right now. Yum, yum, yum. And I'm honoring you. Like I see you in all your kingdom. Mm, like I see you as like this divine masculine that is with his wand, his sword, and his crown, and that you are so happy and with integrity. And I just have to take this in for just a minute, and just like, how you put in a stone and it vibrates, the ripple effect. So we are creating this right now. We're healing, we're going. So I see you, and just with the observation of your beauty, we entice it, we magnetize it, we make it reality. Yum. Okay. Like we need to feel those beautiful emotions and people's beauty. This surpasses people. This surpasses any kind of criticism and gossip and addiction to those things, when we are seen in front of each other and all their beauty, and opening up the portal to your divine, open the portal to where all your wishes are granted, where everything is fulfilled, where you see somebody in all their glory. There is nothing wrong with being able to see who somebody's very truest self is. When we do this, we help open as a collective oneness each other up. So we're in the moment. I know you asked me a question, but I just really, I honor you. I honor you. I honor you. And this is also another way I'm trying to do it as active as possible so people really feel the truth barometer inside of themselves, Prosper. This is instead of taking on and emitting all the frequencies and all the crap and all the collective consciousness and all the drama and the CNN and the news and what the problems are in the world. Boom, 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 boom. Let's just put that into a vortex and let's send it off. Let's just send it off. It's not in our existence. Let's take care of our energy. Let's just move it. And when we're able to see in each other and each present moment and what our highest, then we get to really co-create and change things up. And better, I'm going to say it again, the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets. And I don't know why we did that cleaning, but I am, even any thought forms around this or whatever, just being able to honor it with neutrality. And I'm not taking any of it in and processing anymore. This is what I was taught. This is how I was taught within and how to do this. We are able to process these things from the exterior a lot easier, and all the criticism and gossips and things like gets easier and easier and easier the more that you ask for that truth and that neutrality, and you clear your own energy. Even if you don't know how to, you just say, I want to clear my energy of everything that is not helping me, not helpful, and I want to go to my highest truth. Okay, good night. Like, go to bed. Okay. So anyways, phew. Your question was, I think I don't know if we answered it anyways. What was your question?
It felt like we did. I was,
Okay,
I was
cool.
your vitality workshop. It
Yes.
sort of has, the remnants or a mirror sort of
Mm.
image of what a rite of passage will be for those that haven't gotten an exposure to what it is,
Yes.
that is out there.
Thank you. Yes, I try to see, instead of like dancing around, this is what I hate like about podcast and things like this. Instead of like just talking about like concepts and things like that, that doesn't work for people anymore. The time is now. The time to now is to be able to show up and as your authentic self and to show how this really works. You know what I mean? And to be able to connect with people in their heart, not just from a perspective of like, oh, maybe this works. And it's not very what's the right word? It's not very in depth. It's not more, it's not, it's deep truth here we're talking about, and you're inspiring to Prosper. So we did answer that
Yes, we did. Yes,
with the proof, my dear.
absolutely. And what would be the best way for the uninitiated to maybe connect with you and learn a little bit more about your work and
Yes,
also maybe upcoming events that you might have?
sure. Sure. So whether you're uninitiated or you're not, or you are initiated, there's always tidbits for everyone. So when I'm channeling and doing the modules within the stuff, it takes care of itself. Like I am not, I am just part of the divine. But what comes out as channel is will move and shake people into the interior. It shakes their core up so that they can start emitting this frequency, that they can start connecting to their light. So this is really, really important. So vitalityunleashed.live. And as soon as you go in there, you can sign up for the master classes, or you can go right in and start on the modules. And 6 hours of modules, I think, is like the lowest. And it has the possibility and the capacity to be able to change your whole perspective in different areas of your life. We go over health, we go over spirituality, how to receive prosperity, and self-care. I think that we even remove metals out of people's bodies. There's a couple of those, and there's a lot of extra bonuses. So people get a lot more. And then they become part of the Facebook page and start really interacting with other people. They can ask questions. And I think as part of it too, that people can leave me a message. Like if they're really having a hard time with something, they can actually leave me a message. I'll go ahead and meditate on it and be able to leave that message for them so that they can have that frequency, their vibrancy and everything connect to that is connected to them. So there's all sorts of goodies in there.
Absolutely.
VitalityUnleashed.live.
I'll, I'll definitely make sure that those links are in the show notes below. Now, Andrea, I
Thank
mean,
you.
obviously, you would understand exactly why you're doing this and things of that nature. But the person who's watching this video right now might just be going through whatever they're going through and not really there as yet. And they might be wondering what is the most rewarding aspect of the work you do? Why do you do this?
I want people to stop handing their power over to tech, to other people. I want people to go like within. I want people to start developing their own inner knowing and trust how they feel and just igniting their intuition, their passion. I want them to, start cultivating their trust, their inner trust instead of it looking for it. It's a yummy feeling. It brings a happiness. It brings the joy. It brings the blissful feelings. And again, stop handing over the power to tech and other people for now, these things, people and places and things and stuff, this is supposed to be like more like a complement, an enhancement, a place where it parlays with who we are instead of completely taking over. So I want to confirm, and I want people to be able to confirm their empowerment. I want people to confirm their intuition, that they are creating a world. I want people's world that is within to be more interesting so that they are inspired to live their life with their life force, which is vitality, and give it to the world. And through this, we open up interdimensionally if you want to know about ETs, if you want to know about the universe, if you want to know more about God, you want to know more about things, guess what? You can access that within and share with people. And then from that authentic, real, genuine place, you start creating really new energetic things in our world that flow, that sustain, that add to the health of our beautiful earth, that add the flowers and rainbows, that sustain our waters and life. And within the universe too. I'm not going to go into that because that's going to get really woo woo. But when you start, the better it gets, the more presence, and the inner you go, the more out you go.
Absolutely. I was brought up
Mm.
to understand that, when you plant an apple seed, there's no knowing how many apples are in that. So in essence, what you're saying is once you just start doing the work and just going on that journey, you just never know, the overwhelming abundance that is in every
Oh,
facet of everyone's life right there, that you can do. But
mhm.
Andrea, people might just see us
More
geeking
wisdom.
about this and thinking, maybe these guys are on a level. Maybe you can share a memorable, maybe success story from one of your clients that truly
Mhm.
touched your heart and really showcases the work that you're helping people achieve. And you don't need to mention names, but it's just for that one person who's sitting at the back of the room thinking, maybe this is for other people, not people like
Mhm.
myself.
I got it. So I got it. And it's not just with one client. I can say with every single time with my friends, family, people that I trust my intuition so much in things that I see. And within those happinesses and that blissful feeling that you feel throughout the body, this is a way of chills, things that are emotional, that happen to me often. That again, better that it gets, the better it gets. And I'll hold space for people. And the more that I hold the truth of what I see in those blissful, higher emotional mastery type of, scale. And no matter what, I will communicate and I will hold that space for people no matter what, even as they are defying it or they don't believe it or whatever that it is. And what I get to do is if I have triggers with some of those things, I get to do the work for myself as I'm going through, whether it be friends, family, clients, whatever it is, and say, thank you for this mirror. Okay, I see where I need to do my shadow work or where I might have something to do. I know how to clear it. And then I keep on holding steady. And 99% of the time, 90.9, because sometimes I don't know if I don't speak to them again, or 95% of the time, they always come home to who they are. And so it's beautiful. It's beautiful. As before, I used to think that I just pissed people off. Or I see a lot of healers and people that they just say that they illuminate and then they piss people off to their truth. Well, you're judging. Keep on illuminating. Keep on believing in yourself. It's because when we hiccup, and so we're doing this by example again, because my one thing is that I don't want to boast and be self-righteous. That's not what I'm here for. I want to give real examples so that people can break through their limitations and their belief systems and things like that. So when healers or people that are working with people start gossiping or criticizing their clients or their people or whatever, because that they're seeing or they're judging them, because they're not seeing the light that you're seeing inside of them, it means you're not holding the truth. You're not holding that light. You're not holding what you're feeling and sensing and trusting your own intuition about that person. And I'm not talking about negative stuff. I'm talking about holding that within your body, the bliss of your body. You don't have to say everything to people because remember, back to integrity. Sometimes when you tell too much to a client, person, place, or thing, even if you see it, sometimes in the silence and holding that space is the best thing that you can do. Because if you go too far ahead, which we have a lot, and people will hear what they want to on this program and what they don't want to. And if it's too much for you, it's okay. Back it up. You don't have to judge it. You don't have to be with it. You don't have to just try to think about things that you can hear and how that can positively affect your life today. Today, I get to everywhere that I go, Prosper, I get smiles. I get to make changes. I can go to the mall. I can go shopping. I can do all of those things and get some. That is so it's starting to reflect more and more of what I'm feeling on the outside, and people less and less can come to me with the lower frequencies and want to interact with it because it just neutralizes it. I'm all about the neutralization and how can I connect with you in the most meaningful and positive way.
Wow. Do you know, I
Yes.
always reach out to a lot of people, ask them to be on the show.
Mhm.
None, first of all, will show up with gifts. Some people will just come, take, take, take. And I think what you've given us today is a remarkable gift in and of itself.
Mhm.
But I wanted you to give a gift back to yourself. Knowing what you know now about who you've become and all the experiences that you've had, we did go back to that 12-year-old Aundrea before, but there was a 20-year-old Aundrea that you introduced onto the scene that then connected with people in Greenland and all those other places. If she would have been the person watching this video right now, what would you have wanted her to know?
Oh my gosh. Trust yourself, trust in what you're learning, trust and that the purpose of life. Okay. No condition can sustain itself in the presence of love. Come back to love. No condition that is around you can sustain itself in the presence of love. I've got chills all over my body. And keep on reminding myself that and trust in what you're seeing, trust in the intuition. And nobody can, and these people are there to open you up and you're there to learn from people, but always go within and see if it feels right for you or if it might be a block. And if it feels heavy, what you're training or whatever heavy, that means that you have some work to do for yourself. Or if you're going to criticism, this is very easy. Or some you're learning from somebody, it doesn't matter. I don't care if it's the most your pastor. I don't care if it's your I don't care if the bishop. I don't care who, whatever that you are. Don't just take it for what it is. Feel it inside your body. Does it feel right to you? Does it create lightness? Can you dig it? Does it create sensations in your body of joy and pleasure and happiness? Does it give love to you back? So when you think of it and you think of the lesson, does it give you love back? Do you feel warm? Or is there some blocks there? Does it feel a little bit heavy? And then start asking yourself, what is that block? What is this thing? What is this thing? How can I add love there? How can I add love there? Where am I going to add love? Is this a pattern or block? If it is, great. If I can't see it, don't keep pushing it. I'm going to send love to it. This is how we do unconditional love within ourselves. We keep, how many people, they're looking for love in all the wrong places, right? They look for love. Bring that love inside. Ask. And if you don't even know how, it doesn't matter here. It doesn't matter. Just ask. What would it take to love myself so much that I feel blissed out for 1% of the day? And then grow upon that. There's no competition here. It's not a competition about love. That would be competition. That would be self righteousness. That's something we clear. It's about you, not you compared to what the other person is. Only you know what you feel. Yum.
Absolutely. Now, I don't know how this is going to land, but I always believe in future pacing and obviously creating for where we are going based on the person that we are today. If we are to meet 80-year-old Andrea, what is she going to be saying about the life she's lived?
Wow. Oh, Prosper, you're so good at what you do. Your energy is so good around this. This is part of your Prosper. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So as we're doing this, I'm going to tell you what I'm feeling because nobody's asked me this specific question and I'm really in the present, but I feel good with you here and I see your gifts and talents and I'm like, "Oh my God, I feel," so I'm saying this out loud so people can under gratitude. I feel appreciation. And I'm going to start creating my new timeline of 80 years old right now here with you as the witness. Thank you. Oh, you are doing the healing. You are doing the wholeness. And you're holding that container for me right now. Man, I see loved ones around me. I see things flow. I see people with so much respect for me and wanting to do my hair and my makeup and being able, oh, Andrea, do you love this? Or, oh, and me sitting down and listening to them with my little cookies and crackers or, or whatever, my little delights and having me tell these things and putting peace in people's hearts and laughing at the silliest things and taking long walks and feeling all the elements within nature, being able to feel and the connection between the universe and me is not so far apart and that I am actively bringing my presence, my universe with even more within the world. And then when it's my time to go and it's my transition, that I will know and be teaching that on how to transition out when we are ready and with a lot of love and grace, but leaving behind a legacy of love and having the home. I see the home with the lake. I see with the stables, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's a home of where people can feel safe and love. And everything that is around me and is surrounded by me is nothing because I'm a minimalist the way I roll, and I see everything, and everything that is in my present has been given to me in one way or the other because I've given so much to the world. So everything in my home is gifts from other people. Thank you. Chills.
Wow. Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
I really felt that, and thank you for introducing us to the future Andrea, because I think you've created that already.
I did. Thank you so
And
much for being a part of that. We'll be in touch, Prosper. I love it.
and there you have it, folks. Wow, what a whirlwind of inspiration, wisdom, and genuine connection with the remarkable Andrea Sides. But wait, I think there's a lot more. I think if you're hungry for transformative insights and just ready to unlock your full potential in your life, be sure to watch this episode again and share it with somebody. Just maybe one more person that might need to hear what Andrea has to say today. And if you can, sit down and watch it with them because I think there's a lot to unpack in here. And I'll make sure that I've got all the links to her website so you can actually get started on the journey and get the Vitality Unleashed Masterclass. And yeah, I just can't wait to see what you guys are going to do with this information. And in the process, don't forget to subscribe to the Online Prosperity Show for more enlightening conversations like this. And I want you to remember something: the journey to prosperity just begins with a single step. And if you take it now, this could be the best life you could ever be on. As Andrea says, you will be able to open the floodgates of overwhelming abundance in every facet of your life. Until next time, this has been Prosper and 80-year-old Andrea signing off. Stay prosperous and stay inspired. Bye for now.